Hi, everyone. I just wanted to give you a 5-minute quick tutorial with some edits. Okay, some folks are having similar challenges, and I know a lot of you will be writing this evening, so I just wanted to go through a few things that I'm observing several times. You can actually see that this student is working on his essay as I've already made the edits to his intro. So one thing we're going to remember is that his title is going to indicate, also at this point, guys, you want to make sure you put your this information here. The thing you want to make sure you do is you want to go to insert, header and footer. You want to make sure you insert your last name, and then you want to insert page number. And then you need to change that font to Times New Roman so it matches with the rest of the essay. So then it will appear on every page. I'm not sure why the font didn't change there. Anyways, okay, so we'll have that info. Now, at these unprecedented times, I'm not sure what was here, currently facing a pandemic in which citizens have been called upon to unite ourselves. So the edits that I'm making here is we're not allowed to use we or are, okay? So the student had written we, so we had to change that. So we're going to get rid of our first person. Don't forget, get rid of all that first person stuff, okay? You're not allowed to use first person pronouns. And so have been called upon, we had to add some words to get rid of the first person, okay? The coronavirus has brought many. So he wrote most, didn't bring most of our hopes down, it brought many. So we just changed some words. This is what a grammar sounds like. He had put an and where he didn't need one. In the world, worried about the coronavirus has brought many of our hopes down and made us worried about the economy. The world in general, there's the comma, and especially the younger generations. On top of this, 2020 could, the edit here, folks, is because he used a contraction. In good writing, you can't use contractions. So we have to change a couldn't to a could not. Could not have been worse as social issues started piling up as oppression against the Black community started piling up against the Black community as well. It wasn't happening. So you can see the writer setting the context. He said coronavirus and the BLM movement are two of the main matters in the world that the world is concerned with. Now we're transitioning. So I added a transition. We can't just jump from like, it's crazy to Lady Gaga. So as a result of the craziness, Lady Gaga, a well-known American songwriter, expressed her concerns regarding these issues and tried to motivate people, especially younger generations, to bring about change in society and the world with a kind heart and a vision for the future. Right? So this is a great transition. The world is crazy. So Lady Gaga steps in to give us a better hope for the future. Great transition in the paragraph. Some of you I'm finding in your intros are rushing a little bit. So try to avoid those rushes, okay? You don't need to rush. Take several sentences to establish the context for the speech. Then you transition into the speech, okay? During YouTube's Dear Class of 2020, and now watch, this writer crushes this sentence. It's a long one, it does a lot, but it's grammatically sound. During YouTube's Dear Class of 2020 virtual graduation event, live streamed on June 7th, Lady Gaga gave the class of 2020 an incredibly powerful and motivational 7-minute speech. Now, we could have had a period here, but the writer's still rolling, in which she uses metaphor to illustrate her point of view. Polysyllabic in to give the audience a sense of overwhelm, and hortative sentences to encourage her audience to take action. So writer's got a couple problems here. First of all, hortative sentences encourage her audience to take action. That's great, because that's what hortative sentences do. And we make it specific to her audience. What I'm observing from several of you, you don't just, this is so vague. Metaphor to illustrate her point of view is really vague. Like, that doesn't help me understand anything. Polysynodon to give the audience a sense of overwhelmed. Again, that's what polysynodon does, but how is it used in Lady Gaga's? So what I'm going to ask the writer to do, so we're going to scroll just a little bit. Okay, so you can see that in the metaphor paragraph, the writer compares racism with the growth of a forest. So instead, that's just the first example. So I imagine what the writer's trying to do here. She uses metaphor to help her audience visualize a more hopeful future. Okay, so the visualize is how the metaphor works. That's the key metaphor word, right? But a more hopeful future, that's what Lady Gaga is going to do in this speech. And so we use that language. It appears that the writer's actually on the dock right now. So I'm curious what he would change Polysynonym to give, it gives a sense of overwhelm to. But it might be something like Polysynonym to give the audience the sense of the many possibilities for the future, or something like that. And the reason I say many possibilities, the answer, of course, is that's what polysynonym does. But we link it, we don't just like generally define what polysynonym does, we actually link it to Lady Gaga's speech. Okay, all of this leads us to these tactics allow Lady Gaga to effectively develop a deeper level of exhortation toward bringing about change in society, as our inherent responsibility as the young generation. So I don't think we need to say that. We definitely have to take out the our, O-U-R. So we'll just stop there. I like to say in my class, if we don't need it, if it's being repetitive, we say hasta la vista, baby. And he's going to see that. And I hope he'll accept that correction. So that's how you write an introduction. You move from broad to specific. I really hope that helps.